What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of The Barbaric Yawp. My name is Adam. I'm your host. Today we're going to talk about the guiltiest man in the room. In today's world, that's a difficult thing to talk about. Really, to start off, I think we should say a couple of things. One is that if you don't start with a basic, fundamental, logical position, the basics of logic are that a thing is itself. A is A. Ayn Rand's classic book, Atlas Shrugged, was all about this topic, was about a guy who perfectly embodied A is A, that life can only be lived to live. If you live to die, if you do things that will destroy yourself or destroy others, then it's like a bird trying to break its own wing, or a tree trying to destroy its roots. It doesn't make sense. It's contradictory to what we do as living, breathing beings. But oftentimes we, in the Homo sapien category, allow people to fake reality. We allow people to pretend or maintain the illusion that what they want, what they feel they deserve or are entitled to, how they feel, is reality. And it's not. For example, no matter how much you want something to not fall, if you drop it on planet Earth, gravity is going to cause it to fall. That's just unarguable fact. Okay? Even if you create a vacuum, it's still going to fall. In fact, if it's anywhere near the Earth, chances are it's going to get sucked into the Earth's gravity. If not the Earth, then some other heavenly body that has gravity. Gravity is a law of nature. It exists, and it is something you just can't dispute. In a similar way, you can't dispute that reality exists and that there are certain laws of living, right? i.e., you're not entitled to anything. You don't get, just because you exist, just because you were born, just because somebody had sex and the result was you and they decided not to get rid of you but to bring you into this world, that doesn't mean you're entitled to anything. And it doesn't mean that past a certain point, if people didn't care for you, you would die. Past that point at which they care for you, if you don't care for yourself, you will die. You are not entitled to live. You have a right to try to live, but you ultimately are responsible for doing that. In today's society, we have a bunch of people that think they're entitled to live and to live how they think they deserve, without having to work for it, without having to think about it, without having to put any of the effort forth to achieve the life they want. They feel that they have been wronged by the universe, that because they exist without the silver spoon or the golden tongs or the bling or the bedazzle or the Porsche or the whatever, that they have somehow been wronged by the universe and are entitled to get those things via the rest of us. Back to the guiltiest man in the room. Who do you think's guiltier? The person that believes that they're entitled to those things, that they deserve to have whatever they want, or the person that allows that person to believe that is true, i.e., they don't do their job, they don't get fired because they're protected. They don't get fired because HR has certain things that prevent them from being fired. When you fake reality in any way, when you allow someone to fake reality in any way, it ultimately brings about destruction. The guiltiest man in the room as Ayn Rand would say, is the person that allows someone to believe their entitlement is true. Currently, we have millions of dollars of damage being done to major cities by people who believe they are entitled to have what they want without any work. All other things aside, A is A. The laws of nature teach us that we must work for our survival. The harder we work and the greater our skill, the better our survival will be. Hard work pays off. And the sooner we as a society decide that's the standard we're going to hold, we stop lying to a bunch of children that have never matured. We stop lying to boys who think they're men simply because they can wield a gun or a knife or a skateboard or a chair. To physically assault someone because they rejected you, your proposal of the honor of being your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, to get physically violent with that person, to get physically violent or to use a mob to threaten, intimidate, and shout down someone who has a differing opinion than you, you're not entitled to rule the world. You're not entitled to be the only voice in the conversation. You're not entitled to any of those things. Now, you can work to create an environment in which you're the final say. You own your own company. You're the big cheese, the guy that put all the skin in the game and won because he worked hard and accomplished something that nobody else could or nobody else did. Congratulations, man. You get to control your world. You're still subject to the laws of nature and the government and everything else. But congratulations, in your little fiefdom, in your little kingdom, you get to be the ruler. You get to say, this is how we're going to do it. You get to decide what you're going to do. You get to decide who gets to do it with you, how fast you're going to do it, how slow you're going to do it, whether you want to make tons of money because you're working your butt off, or whether you only want to make enough to get by and provide for your family. If you own it, if you've built that kingdom, then you get to say that. Otherwise, you're subject to the man who did build it. In this world, there is authority, period. Whether you are under the authority of God, ultimately, whether you are under the authority of the government in which you live, in the United States, that'd be the president on down. You are under authority. Even if you live in a completely isolated state. You know, if you're off in the mountains by yourself, completely alone, and you have nobody else to answer to except yourself, you are still subject to the laws of nature. You have to eat. You have to drink. You have to sleep. You have to have warmth and security. If you don't have those things, guess what? You're not going to be king of your little isolated pocket for very long. You're still subject to a higher power, to a higher authority. The sooner we as a society can figure that out, the better off we're going to be. I would really strongly suggest that you guys read Ayn Rand's book, Atlas Shrugged. It's a fantastic novel. There are some really great speeches in it that, man, just, in my opinion, perfectly apply to what's going on in the world today. I really hope you check it out. It's definitely worth a read. I listened to it on Audible. I've probably listened to it 20 times. It's fantastic. I bookmarked all the speeches. You will get a lot out of it. In a lot of ways, it will give you some words to use to talk about what's going on. Currently, the world is a crazy place. Up is down and down is up, but the laws of nature, the laws of physics, the laws of logic are still true. You can't be and not be at the same time. You can't be two things at once. You either are or you aren't. You have a choice to make. Are you going to lie to yourself and to others, or are you going to embrace the truth and actually do something with it? Thanks for watching the video. If you like it, you know what to do, and we'll see you next time.